Welcome back to another episode of the Unlocking the not of the okay to the
Unlocking the Flywheel.
I keep forgetting our podcast name.
It's okay.
It's actually the
Welcome
first.
to the podcast.
Yeah,
It's actually the first time we're saying the
we're
name.
doing the intro. Yeah. Welcome back to another episode of Unlocking the Flywheel. Today in the studio with us we have Leevi and Rob. And Leevi and Rob are the owners and co-founders of Agency Velocity, which is a lead generation agency consulting business. And despite their youthful demeanor, they are very professional and they have a wealth of experience to share with us. And I really suggest taking notes. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Tell me, what is Agency Velocity? Let's just dive straight into it. And how does it differ from anything else that's on the market today?
Yeah, so Agency Velocity, what started off as sort of like a BizOp coaching program, really fast evolved into a consulting company where we help freelancers or very, very small boutique agencies in the lead generation space scale and get good client results and just build a good agency.
What do you do? What do you help with them mostly? What's your day-to-day operation like? If somebody joins Agency Velocity, what can they expect?
So it depends a little bit at the stage their agency is at. I'd say mostly it is about positioning, restructuring their offer a little bit, because very often those freelancers or boutique agencies, they've seen some sort of offers on the market or online that sort of they think they should be doing, but in reality it doesn't really resonate with their target market. So we help with that, and we have so many clients and we've seen so much that it's pretty easy for Leevi to figure out if it's the right offer or not. Then of course all sort of lead generation or marketing campaigns, sales strategy, sales processes, and also a big part of our protocol is writing sales letters or video sales letters, or helping them write good ones that once again shorten the sales process for them and for their clients potentially, and just improve their marketing campaigns, their sales process, and so on.
What we really want to do with Kauri here is to get down to the details and share some of the inside scoop and give people value with this. But let's just front load all the Agency Velocity shielding and
Let's do that,
here
yeah.
so people know what we're talking about, what you guys are doing. So at what stage do you expect people or lead generation agencies to join you? Is it something that you take on people that are completely green and you kind of coach them how to build an agency from scratch, or do you want them to have reached a certain, let's say, MRR already?
So we don't work with totally green, totally beginners, the type who maybe see an ad online and then they're like, hell yeah, I want to build a business. We don't really work with them. We do have a lot of free resources that we've written and built over the years, over the years. Over the months, let's say, or weeks, for that sort of market segment. But we don't really work with them because we don't do anything for them. It's a done with you solution or consulting. So very often it's just a little bit too much risk on our side. And, they don't really need those specific consulting at that stage. So really our ideal clients are already existing lead generation agencies, let's say around 8 to 15 grand a month, MRR, not profit. And then any type of freelancer or specific role, let's say if a person has been an SDR at a company or a sales rep, and just wants to transition, take their own skills that they already have and just transition into more of a, let's say, the modern way of working, which seems to be all the market trends show that there are more freelancers, more people just working for themselves or just doing service arbitrage in that sense. So those two main target segments, I would say, are the main ones we work with. Anything to add?
Yeah, I think there just needs to be enough of acumen or understanding, because usually with completely green people who have never done anything in terms of business, their biggest problem is that they just are so all over the place. So they just need to find their own flow so they can just do something for a bit.
Yeah.
And as long as they have like at least tried something and gotten like a few clients in some kind of a business, then that shows us that okay, they are capable of actually executing on something, and they have probably executed it completely wrong, but then it's way easier for us to show them how to do it right instead of like helping them wake up in the morning and open up the laptop and find the motivation to actually do the work, because that's of course like that's something that's more on them than us.
So I'm guessing like the main marketing channel means for you that like the person already knows what they're doing. So like the main channel for you is basically Twitter, I'm assuming.
For acquisition for your own.
Yeah,
X.com.
Yeah.
X and YouTube also has been super solid lately.
Oh yeah, because you are scaling up a YouTube agency,
Yeah.
your YouTube channel now,
Yeah, that has been super fun. It's also really enjoyable to do.
and do 3 videos a week. That's what I find impressive.
Yeah,
It's like we were talking over dinner the other night that I find it so difficult just to sit down and talk to the camera straight and record something, but it seems to come so natural to you.
yeah, that's the thing. Also, we have over 200
that's
clients at that point, so it's like you just see so much from the market every single day. I can open up our Slack channel, hop into anyone's like private consulting channel, and they have questions and they have ideas and everything. So it's like,
so you just read the questions and spitball the answers,
Yeah,
basically what you would tell them on a private call anyway.
yeah, exactly.
But you did mention that you've been building this over months. So how old is the agency now? How fast have you grown and where have you scaled? It's okay to drop numbers here.
Agent velocity just a few days ago hit a year. So we started it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. 2022, 1st of August was when we got our first client in. Of course, we spent like a few months building it, but we launched it fairly raw. So yeah, it's a bit over a year old. We scaled to 7-figure run rate and 6-figure months in like 6 months, I think so. Yeah, around 6 months, and yeah, it has been going well. But yeah,
Nice.
that's really where it's at, like a 7-figure run rate
And
or 7-figure a year.
I would attribute that half of that to your Twitter game.
Might be, yeah.
Yeah, I really recommend checking out Leevi's Twitter. It's a fun ride. What you also mentioned, like I'm gonna jump back to the recruiting or like working with complete newbies thing. It's like when you're picking up anything, like any new project, any new undertaking, you're gonna get so overwhelmed with all the details in a sense that everything is new for you and it's just gonna overwhelm the circuit. So it's like completely impossible to just jump in to something fresh, and it's gonna be, look, you're gonna have so much more roadblocks. That's just what I wanted to add from my own experience, because we have now been doing I have been jumping into our lead gen as well a bit, lead gen, and it's just like looking at the instantly flows and all this cold emailing stuff. It's just like a bit overwhelming among everything else. So but what are the main strategies that you then teach people, consult people on? Do you have like a specific approach? This is coming from a person who's not familiar with the lead gen world or the agencies. Do you work with agencies that do only email outreach or like affiliates or like cold calling, or is there a specific approach to this, or how does it work mostly?
Yeah, pretty much the clientele that we only work with are the ones that work in the B2B markets, so business to business markets. Because the lead generation for something like a B2C, which is pretty much just getting customers into, let's say, an e-commerce store, you can't really mass email because it goes against GDPR laws and a lot of different things. So yeah, B2B lead generation agencies who do mainly cold email, because that's what we're the most familiar with. But you can also do, and we have clients doing paid advertising for B2B lead gen and LinkedIn outreach for lead gen as well.
How does the paid advertising work nowadays? It seems so difficult to get anything going. Paid advertising, you mean mostly Facebook ad network or something else as well?
Yeah, so the main thing there is usually why people struggle with paid advertising is because they are missing the actual core foundations of what makes it work. So they are selling something that the market actually wants, and having the ability to actually like know how to speak to that market, and then being able to communicate the thing that you're selling to the market in a way that they understand it. That's what we usually teach people to like do with cold email, because it's fast, it's cheap, you get instant feedback almost, and you're able to like really like, you get really clear on data on how this works and how that works. And then when you figure that out, and when you like get the fit on cold email, then you pretty much just take the things, take the messaging, take the offer, take the targeting, and just put it on the Facebook ad platform, Facebook Business Manager, And of course, there's some small nuances, budgeting strategies, etc., etc., etc. But at the end of the day, if you have something that the market actually wants, you know how to actually speak to that market, and you're able to communicate the bridge between the market and the offer in a way that they understand it, then you can pretty much do it anywhere. You can do it with a direct mail, flying, homing pigeons, smoke signals, whatever. Like someone wants to buy it, they're gonna buy it, no matter where they really see the message.
Okay, wait, did I get this right that you can basically then test and validate with cold email, and then when you validate something, you're gonna go onto Facebook?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you run it like specifically as a campaign, or if you had something hit, you can like retroactively try and fit it then? What I mean is, do you specifically have to start a cold email campaign keeping this in mind that you want to move to Facebook? Or can I now look at some of our old campaigns that have actually worked and I can just repurpose them for Facebook? I mean, complete newbie questions because I'm like...
Yeah, like I don't think that there needs to be like a clear intent on the cold email campaign that you're going to bring it to Facebook. It's like at the end of the day, it's like just, okay, do you have resonance between what you're selling and who you're selling it to? And if you know how to like bridge that gap, and if you know how to actually get them interested on it and like explain what you're selling, then like my belief is that you can really do it on any channel possible.
Yeah, I'll just add, I think there's a little bit of a nuance to what works and what doesn't work, and then just like taking what works into Facebook ads and then hoping it works there, because you really want to know why that cold email campaign worked, or why that outreach campaign worked. Was it the targeting? So were you only going after, let's say, biohackers, right? Or if you went after biohackers and you went after, let's say, yoga instructors, just an example, you probably shouldn't like email yoga instructors because they probably don't have businesses, but whatever. If you see that 2 target markets hit, it probably is not the targeting itself, but it's the messaging or the angle or the way you present your offer, right? But if you don't really know that, you can just take, okay, let's try a 3rd target market or market segment to hit with the same positioning or the same copy or the same idea, right, from the outreach campaign. And then suddenly it doesn't hit. And then you're like, well, maybe the market doesn't want this anymore, or that positioning, it doesn't resonate on the market anymore. And then you start changing the ad copy, you start changing the creatives and everything like that. But your targeting is the one that's missing, right? So before you actually take the next step or you try to carry something over, you need to make sure that, okay, is the targeting the same? Is the messaging the same? Is the way we present the offer, or like, is the offer the same? And is the way we're presenting the offer or the positioning of the offer the same, right? So there's a little bit of nuance between that. Thankfully, what you can do is a very nifty trick on paid ads. You can just take, if you've scraped leads, right? You got a CSV file of 1,000 leads that you want to target. You can just import that into whatever ad manager, and you can either do retargeting ads to the people who, you know, didn't respond or didn't book a call, or you didn't close, and you can just retarget them with paid. So it seems like they see you everywhere.
And that's with B2C, that's fine, right? Sorry, B2B, that's fine.
Yeah.
But not with B2C, right?
No, with B2C, paid ads are totally fine. It's
yeah,
just,
but I mean, if
you just can't email like
you can't
retail
just mass
customers
email.
anymore.
Okay, but you can like basically try to, well, actually, yeah, you wouldn't be allowed to scrape the email list even from anywhere
Yeah, it's
unless
very
you
difficult.
collected it. Yeah.
So back in the day, let's say like 10, 15 years ago, what they would do is like some pretty black hat stuff, to where they would just run paid ads into some sort of offer, and then people would buy it. But the offer or the info product or the product itself, it wasn't really ready. So they would just create an insane list of B2C customers in a specific target market, let's say some supplement, but they never shipped the supplement. So they refunded all the customers, but then they had the list of like 500,000 buyers, and then they would sell the list for like a couple million. But nowadays it doesn't really work anymore.
Yeah.
Like you're going to go to definitely
It
gonna
used to
get
be a
lot.
little bit different there. Like you just get some customer list, you import it to your own pixel, you're suddenly killing it yourself.
Yeah.
We had this thing where one of our clients' Facebook ad account was hacked, and we have the hacker's pixel still in there.
Really?
Like it took like 3 months to get the account back, and then like I logged into it for the first time, and then I see the pixel there, and they're like
And
basically.
this happened in Minecraft, by the way. So
So we still just get everything, like all the data, but
Yeah.
if it's using like hacked accounts, they're actually not spending that much. So
Yeah, and the
Not
data
good data.
looks. I don't think the target markets match up with ours as well,
Mm.
because like it's not illegal for us to own the pixel anyway in
Yeah.
Minecraft.
In Minecraft, yeah, of
in
course,
Minecraft, it's not illegal for us to own it because we weren't the ones who put it there. You know, it's
Yeah.
the hackers' pixel. But it's just like fun to look at what they're actually selling, like these knockoff Gucci things and whatever,
Mhm.
like for $20. So that's not really our target market. But coming back to the cold email outreach and putting together and the copywriting, I don't know if this is beneficial, but we've been doing our own outreach and Gaur wrote the copy for that. And we've gotten like, what is it, like 5 replies already, basically saying things like, hey, I normally never answer these emails, cold emails, but your cold outreach was so good, I want to jump on a call with you.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great sign.
Yeah.
So if you've gotten 5 replies, though, that doesn't really mean much, right?
Yeah.
How much volume have you sent? If it's
I mean,
5,000, then
there's
it's
more
kinda like-
replies, but 5 replies are specifically
Okay.
saying that your copy was so good and this
Yeah.
is why we're
I
jumping on the
mean,
call with
that's pretty much all you need from the market, right?
you. Yeah.
And if people say not interested or no thanks or whatever, then there's 2 things. Maybe they simply just don't want what you offer, or your targeting is a little bit bad. There might be just, it might happen if you go through the leads who said like no thanks, no, like I don't know, kill yourself or fuck
Yeah.
off spammer. They might just not be in your target market, and like you'll almost never have an ideal data or a lead list. So I think just getting that sort of feedback from the market of like, hey, this was really good and it made me do something I don't usually do, which also leads to the outcome that you want, which is either calls or people buying or coming on the podcast or whatever it is that you do. I think that's really good. Like,
It's kind of like the comment section, right? Like you get more negative comments if you're doing something and then like a few positive. So like I think might actually like set back some newcomers. They get like a few replies like no thanks,
Yeah.
fuck off.
Yeah.
And then
It's easier to just flame people and tell them to fuck off than to actually
yeah.
more emotion there. But how much effort do you put into writing these emails in a sense that there's a lot of ways you can generate them? And have you tried some like highly customized campaigns as well, where you put in more time, research the company and reach out to them versus just sending, let's say, a rather generic email and blasting it to tens of thousands in a list? And have you seen any difference in potential returns there? Like which one, in your opinion, your experience is more worth doing, or does it depend on the specific kind of a business then?
I think the big difference there, or the big thing that you just need to think about, is the total addressable market. Like if you're selling something super specific, like let's say you only want to work with Fortune 500 customers, and then you have like 500 companies you can pretty much sell to. In my opinion, in that case, it doesn't make sense for you to go with the really general, like a lot of volume, really generic emails, because you only have a really limited amount of people that you can sell to. So then it makes sense to do more research, do more omnichannel, do more personalized stuff, call them, hit them on LinkedIn, send them an email to another person in the company. And of course, it also depends, like if you're selling something big versus if you're selling something super small. If you're selling a $30 a month SaaS product, like it won't really make sense for you to spend 3 hours to get one prospect to reply to you. But then if you're selling something really high ticket and you have really limited audience size or like addressable market, then in my opinion, it makes sense to just go really broad, really specific. And then, at least in my opinion, if you have a really big total addressable market, it makes sense to, at least in the beginning, just go really generic. A lot of volumes are able to really find the traction, find the nerve from the market. And then when you really find what works and what really resonates with the market, then of course it makes sense to a little bit A/B test, see like, okay, if I do more personalization, will it have an effect? Okay, if I do this. But in my opinion, if you have a big audience, you just find the traction by doing a lot of volume, because then you can test faster. You can actually focus on doing market research, figuring out what is the sophistication or awareness level of the market, tweaking all of these like big needle moving things instead of sending like individual follow-ups, because you could spend that time just better.
Yeah, I think maybe an unpopular opinion too, because like we kind of like did a psyop on our corner of Twitter or X, where we introduced the concept of turbo ramming. Is you just turbo ram through your TAM in like 3 to 5 business days, and like that's what you need to do. Like Leevi mentioned, there's still merit to it, but especially over the last few months, I think it was around May is when I started to see the trend of more sort of targeted and more sniper campaigns tend to just be more efficient than just very broad blast to the metaverse type campaigns. But I think there's nuance to it. And the main nuance is that if you do hyper targeted or those sniper campaigns, let's say 250 leads instead of 2,500, right? So order of magnitude less. It's not so much about the personalization itself, right? So I'll bring an example. If you reached out to Leevi and was like, hey, it's so cool that you're Finnish and went to the army, want to come on a podcast? Yeah, that's more personalized than if you just reached out to Leevi and was like, do you want to come on a podcast? But that sort of personalization doesn't really make your offer or your what you're selling stronger, right? It just kind of shows that like, oh, I've done some research on you, which used to be good, but now cold email is getting more popular. We could go into the market trends and the economy of why that's happening, but I don't want to bore anyone out here. But
We're all nerds here. It's fine.
yeah, it's mainly I'll forget what I was about to say,
Yeah.
but
I'm gonna come back.
I think
to
the
it.
difference between like broad campaigns and targeted campaigns or those sniper campaigns is the fact of, okay, if you wanted to reach out to 30 people in your network with one message, you'd probably say like, hey, do you want to come on a podcast? Because you can get, I don't know, clips for your social media or whatever that is. Okay, it's pretty good value prop. But if you went more targeted and you hit only Leevi and you had done your research, you know kind of what his day-to-day looks like, you could write, hey, do you want to come on a podcast so you don't have to spend an hour this week on a YouTube video? Like just turn this podcast into a YouTube video. So there's really like no personalization per se. You just know your target market better and what's going on in the target market. And if you have instead of a shotgun approach, you got the sniper approach, you can just write the copy and write the outreach and the messaging of what's happening in that market segment, right?
Yeah.
And that's the sort of personalization that's starting to work way better. It's because if you can describe in your marketing message the current state of what your prospect is in, that builds so much authority. Like if you know that he's spending 4 hours a week, or probably more, let's say 8 hours a week on creating YouTube videos, and if you reached out to him as a cold prospect and was like, yo, what if instead of 8 hours a week on YouTube, you'd have to spend 4 this week? He'd probably be like, how? You know, at least you get some sort of response. So I think that's the nuance where between broad and targeted, and that's kind of why I think like targeted, those sniper campaigns work better. Of course, if you don't know about your market, it's kind of hard because you'll be basing everything on assumptions, and that's what Leevi mentioned. You know, to get a feel for the market, you go broad. You kind of understand. You hop on sales calls or just talk with the prospects on the messages or email replies and start to understand why they replied, what's actually going on, what are they worried about, you know, where do they want to be, and how it, like, whether your offer even fits into their problems, right?
Where did we go wrong with our podcast agency, the first outreach, where we went highly personalized? We targeted Estonian companies that have more than 3 million ARR, and we got like 0 replies from that campaign, I think. Then we went just broad, we emailed everybody and booked calls.
Like the offer, like I just looked at it later and then I was thinking like, like what are like the emails that I actually respond to? And then there's like basically no first name, like in the start, no custom headline, just like a short headline that like makes you wonder what it is, like an idea, not quick question.
Yeah.
And then like just stuff that I opened myself, and then I just changed it, like less personalized, shorter, and like just like pain points, and then it just hit way better.
And it might just be for those big Fortune 500 companies. We don't have that in Estonia, but
No.
yeah, for those bigger companies with what you mentioned, 1,000 headcount.
Less, because like for us, it's like if it's 1,000, then they're surely like, why we don't just do it in house? Like we're already spending so much.
It might be like the service market fit wasn't there. The other thing, a super simple thing that might have happened is you were either targeting too high in the ladder. So if you're hitting CEOs, they're not gonna spend their time scheduling.
We actually
podcasts.
see
Or-
better results with
Yeah.
the CEOs than
Really?
CMOs because like they're usually the public-facing people from the companies.
And often they have their own personal brands or they want to develop their personal brands. And if they don't, they just hire somebody else, maybe internally, to do it for them. But people have requested for us to find some professional podcasters.
That makes sense.
So do you think it's just they want like someone who speaks English like better than they do?
There are a few cases like that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like some are just super private, right? Like if it's
Yeah.
a software company, it's usually just
Yeah.
no one wants to talk, right? So
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
they might not even have a
Exactly.
sales guy, right?
That's why you
Tech
start a
founders.
software company.
And
Yeah.
the others are just like they speak English, but they're, for example, a company in India, so like everyone's with a thick accent and they can't actually speak with the US customers like properly.
I had to groom this guy for 3 years for the podcast opportunity.
Because I have an Indian name, so I just like leaned into it.
Yeah, Kaur means princess in Indian.
Yeah, in
Princess?
Punjabi.
Princess, yeah.
70% of Indian women have a last name of Kaur.
And
Beautiful.
so that's why he cannot do outreach in our company.
It is actually true. If they would see my first name, there might be some problems. Like I ordered a taxi in Asia, and then in Singapore they say like, "Oh, I thought you were an Indian woman," and then I was like,
Sorry to disappoint you, bro.
yeah. But he was like relieved that I wasn't,
Okay.
but he was Indian himself, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think the Western world like knows that well.
Yeah,
what
Western
Kaur
world is good.
means.
But we
You
have
can test
had
it. You can just name yourself
We,
Carl.
maybe it's actually good if we do like Indian software company outreach.
yeah. So
Maybe
you're
should
gonna
change
like
it up.
Indian royalty,
Princess.
Princess Kaur.
They're gonna be mad disappointed when I hop on the call.
Okay, where do you want to take this? What's next?
I had one question from before, like what is the highest ticket that you've had success? So have you seen people in your community have success with? That's like mind blowing.
Gotta be Wyatt, yeah.
Yeah. We have this one dude, Wyatt Beamer, absolute G. He's actually right now our head of fulfillment because he's really, really good. But he's one of our first customers who ever came in. And he started really fresh. He like had a legion agency, but it really was going over $500 a month. And then he got really good at it. We helped him figure out like what is the actual niche and how to position everything, etc. Right now he's working with 2 clients, and I don't know last month's numbers, but the month before that he did like 76,000 a month profit with working with 2 clients, fully rev share, like 2.5% rev share. So really big deals,
Okay.
making millions through cold email
Oh wow.
for these clients, and he has like 3 team members and like 1.8k OPEX, and it works like 2 hours a day max.
Yeah.
So it's like he has a really, really good setup.
Yeah, I'd say they're probably like the average deal that he sells are no lower than 1 million
Yeah.
through cold email, just emailing people.
Is
Yeah.
that the guy who posted on Twitter the other day that he just closed like $1 million deal?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
I mean, he didn't close $1 million deal.
I mean, yeah,
He's-
Yeah.
yeah, it was closed from one of his leads, but yeah.
Yeah.
nice.
So
This
there's
is
like-
probably, I have never
Yeah.
before
There's
seen
My
something.
Can you
mind
share
is
what the-
just racing like what the fuck costs 1 million? That is like
Yeah,
bought.
can you share the niche?
no, we can't.
No.
no,
Okay.
no, we
No.
can't. But we have
Asking for a friend. Yeah.
we have a few also people that are not even public on AV because they asked not to be public with it for some reason. But we have few guys who have signed also like or work with like big like
No, don't worry, it's just us two here.
Yeah.
big government
This is off
contracts.
the record.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
camera there.
No, it's just us. Just conversation between bros. No one's
It's
listening.
not even recording.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they have like they work with companies that do something for governments or like really big like government-backed companies. So the deal sizes there are like multiple millions, and then if you're able to have like a 5% rev share on that, you're able to make like we have had like few of those cases where they like it's not like super predictable, but once in a while they hit like let's say a $3 million deal and they have a not few percentages on that. So
Yeah.
Just like fundraising and stuff, it kind of makes sense.
yeah,
And outreach to governments, if you sell to governments, that's interesting. If you have governmental agencies that you're outreaching to. And I don't think they get much inbound like that. Because usually they have to do procurements.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah,
See,
it's
that's the problem too with like, let's say like, was it healthcare
yeah,
or like health tech? when they sell to hospital, let's say as an example, they sell to hospitals that aren't private hospitals, it's like, yeah, you can have that interest, but that's not how the sales works. Then it's all procurement.
Their sales process is so different than usually it's like, at least here, at least in Finland, and I think it's like a fairly common practice in at least North Europe, they are trying to make the sales process so when they buy something with the public money, that it doesn't really, they're trying to make it so there's no difference between good and bad salespeople. They want to make it pretty much like faceless buying, that they just buy because of the features and the specs, etc. And then they have this like process for it. So it's really hard to predictably get leads that close, because of course, like if you're a good salesperson, you still have a big impact in the sales process, but it's way different compared to like selling to just private companies.
Yeah, the limit is super low as well. It's like, I think 6,000 euros. If it costs more, then there's already 3 offers that need to be
between countries. I don't know if it's standardized in Europe, but in Estonia, if it's over 3,000 euros, I think 2.5 or 3, then you have to take 3 offers, but you can email them directly. And if it's over, that works up until 10,000 usually. And if it's over more than that, then you have to do procurement. No, sorry. Up to 9,000 or up to 10,000 exactly, you can take it yourself directly. And beyond that, you have to make a public procurement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's usually, there's like a few things there. It's 10,000, 15,000, something happened around 3,000 as well. If it's less than 3, you can just like get it from somebody.
Yeah. And then like if as a like a cold email versus a lead generation agency, like selling to governments is like the only real point there is if you're selling like really big stuff. Like if there are deals that are hundreds of thousands or millions, like otherwise if it's like 10K deals, then like just sell to private companies. It makes no more sense.
Speaking from experience, the thing with government contracts as well is, unless it's a really big contract and you're just like providing one thing, let's say, and you won the huge contract and it's really worth it, let's say hundreds of thousands or millions, then it's worth it. If you have like a 20,000 contract with government agencies, there's so much bureaucracy and so many people whose opinions are just inserted into the process, and it's just a clusterfuck of communication that's going on there.
But there's definitely some of our clients. I was just thinking, I was not listening to anything that you said. I was just thinking. But some of our clients have sold or do lead generation for deal sizes that are, that start from 200,000 to private companies. And in those situations, it's private to private. They might be software development deals or some sort of AI implementation, things like these. Usually pretty tech heavy is the bigger deal sizes, but there's always like some esoteric, I don't know, manufacturing or insurance or something like that too, is that, it's pretty good to have a small little percentage on those.
What's like the craziest offer that someone is selling successfully? Like just like so fucking out there.
Like just like crazy in the sense of like you would think no one buys it?
Either that or just like something that sells way better than you'd expect. If it's not a secret again.
Just between us here.
I think Wyatt's for sure is one like super interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
I think that's just crazy.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, Wyatt's offer. That's the craziest one, yeah.
The common knowledge of Wyatt's offer.
Yeah.
There's like no one specific thing, but I think the ones that are like really interesting to me are the ones that like you wouldn't really know about if you don't have like specific industry knowledge. For example, like I can't remember the exact name of what it's called, but for example, like in travel industry, like B2B, like event organizations or something like that, like those like when those deals happen and those offers like actually work, that like always surprises me. Not because like I don't really trust that it can sell, but I just like have no idea about it. And like those are always really interesting to me. Like some like really specific things inside the industry that you only know about if you're in the industry and if you have been there, for example, for 10 years. So like having that knowledge, I think those are always like really
that's a benefit of working some really obscure job and then exiting the job and starting your own sales agency, because you have all the inside knowledge. And when we're talking about filmmaking or film production or podcasts, like everyone fucking knows how to do these things, and they can just watch a YouTube video and understand. It's not that hidden. It's not guarded knowledge.
Yeah. And I also think there's the fact that we're a little bit living in a bubble in a sense that, okay, like you are online and you're looking at everything, and it's always marketing, tech, startups,
Yeah.
content,
All the stuff that's sexy.
yeah, exactly. But then there's like government, insurance, manufacturing,
Which
policy
you did.
contracts, which are like 5 million.
No, you did solar panels.
I did electricity, renewable
Sustainable
electricity.
yes, renewable
sustainable
electricity.
So it's like, yeah, that also like there we had one of those clients. It was more of an end to end. We did lead gen and we did closing and we did onboarding. But it's like you wouldn't really know about that market and how well the market actually works if you haven't been there for like 4 or 5 years, like I was. Like just selling like electricity contracts for B2B companies into like grocery stores. Those deals are huge, but no one really like, you don't really, because you don't see it on you don't see it on Instagram. No one's making YouTube videos about start this agency and sell to like electricity companies.
Unlike those very obscure jobs that are now getting popular on TikTok because people like looking at them, like pool cleaning, lawn mowing, all these things.
Yeah,
those are funny.
I'd say probably like the most interesting ones that like already Leevi mentioned was the unsexy ones, but I'm just trying to think. Every single time one of our clients like reaches out and is, hey, I got a client whose campaigns are not working. Can you look over them, give some advice, or what should I do differently? And if it's like, it's a really interesting offer, and okay, what's the offer? It's like AI plugin for e-commerce stores, and I just roll my eyes. I'm like, I've seen this 135,000 times, you know. But then if someone comes with like, yeah, we're targeting aerospace manufacturing companies, I'm like, this is interesting because it's not sexy, you know.
Yeah.
Or like even
Porta potties.
Yeah,
We're sending porta potties to events.
Yeah,
literally.
I think one of the other things that I found really interesting was it was essentially an offer was something in-person event in a very specific geographical location, and the client we had could not crack cold email for that client. And it was like, I think it was like end of August. So it's like every week that goes by, it's kind of like there's that time delta on when you need to figure it out. And then once we finally like were able to make it work for them, it was something so simple and so easy. It was essentially like, hey John, saw that you run your company in X area. By the way, we got a small or like event for small and medium businesses in area where, you know, last year we had big company name, big company name, big company name. Interested? ? That was literally the email, and it worked so well.
Yeah, and I think a big thing with that was as well. It's like they came up to us and they're like, "Yo, this email isn't working. This campaign isn't working." And okay, who are you targeting? We are targeting these and these and these companies. Okay, who usually attend this event? These and these and these different companies. Okay, what if you just send the email to the companies that usually go to the event? And it's like, super. And then,
so simple.
Yeah. And
but
I think they did.
This, to me, that was super interesting because it wasn't, again, another branding offer or another AI or another, I don't know, software offer or whatever that was. That was a little different.
Let's take a completely, let's say 90-degree turn from here. What are some non-obvious ways or non-traditional ways of list building? Non-traditional meaning you're not just getting a list from Apollo.
I'd say one of my favorite ones that has always been really, really great and that I really liked is finding like specific lists online that maybe someone else has like, or someone else definitely has built. But like, for example, a blog article about the top 200 fastest growing roofing companies in Estonia or whatever. Someone has built like a really specific list and they have like ranked the companies there. And then pretty much taking that list and then scraping that list and giving it pretty much to a freelancer or VA who has the tools and has the team necessary to get like specifically go through everyone and get their email. I think those are really great because then you can also hit them with yo John, I found you from this list, from this spot, congratulations. And then
because you have a icebreaker there.
Yeah.
We got one list from Twitter. Some lead gen guy shared the list. Hey, like this post and reply, and then you're gonna get a list. We tried that list. How did it go, Gaur?
didn't get a single positive reply. I
They
think.
probably got hit.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
probably
Heavy.
got like 10,000 emails in
You
few
you
days.
already probably know the guy as well.
For
It
Alex
was the
Berman?
Alex Berman.
Yeah.
Mm.
Half the list wasn't working at all and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think if you think about list building too, is okay, if you're targeting, let's say, restaurants, right? It's like, yeah, you could go on Apollo.io or LinkedIn or whatever that is, but dude, like, restaurant owners don't hang out online.
Restaurant owners don't have money for your services.
Yes.
Okay. Let's say we're selling $5
Okay.
ice cubes, right? But so how do you find restaurants to go eat at? It's probably going to be Google Maps.
Mhm.
So you just find someone who can scrape Google Maps and you scrape Google Maps.
Mm.
So a little bit depends on like who you want to target too, right? If it's let's say startups, you go Crunchbase, right? Because that's where the lists are. Let me think what else is very interesting there.
And also, like, I think that's also a great point. A lot of people see list building as something it's like a binary thing. Either you're building a list or you're not building a list. You go to Apollo and you build a list or you don't do it. But there's like a huge, like, you can do it so much better than everyone else. Like, for example, if I wanted to create the best possible startup campaign ever, I would go to a startup event and collect 100 emails and then I would run the campaign with that. It would probably
So, like, personally
print-
with a clipboard.
yeah, like literally stand there at the door. Oh, we are doing this, blah, 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 blah. Like, I would just rip that. Or I would just introduce myself and then like run the cold email campaign. It's probably like, of course, it takes 100 times more energy, but it also probably performs 100 times better.
Because you've also met the people already. Yeah.
And but like then it's not really a cold email, but like the example was just like you can just go so much like next level with it compared to like everyone who just goes to Apollo and just spends 3 minutes building a list.
Here's-
Like you can do so much more.
By definition, you're doing different things, non-obvious ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw someone do like essentially like a TikTok, and then like the TikTok had like a lead magnet essentially, and then he collected those emails, and then he got like 90% reply rate or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like 250 people.
Or for example, like if you can also scrape based on intent, right? So if you know, or if you look at job boards or job listings and there's companies who are hiring a sales rep or let's say a lead generation specialist in-house, then they have an obvious problem and they have buying intent already. You just need to make it, you scrape the job board and then your campaign will just be, okay, how do I sell a lead gen offer in a way that it's a no-brainer compared to hiring someone in-house? The specific lead source or where you get your leads dictates the entire campaign strategy, right? But if you just go on a poll and you do like a generic search, which obviously has its merits too, it doesn't really dictate there's not much you can do based on the lead list for the campaign strategy. So I think lead scraping is probably the most annoying thing you can do, or like just figuring out where to get data and how to get it. But it's probably one of the highest leverage things you can do in terms of outbound.
So let's jump to now the market trends of what do you see what's happening in the cold email market, and how does your offer differ from those of your competitors, let's say?
So the overall market trend is that cold emailing is getting more popular. That's just undeniable.
Oh, and let's quickly insert that in here as well, because most of your campaigns you're building, and I saw you on YouTube as well teaching, and the owners, you're working on Instantly, and Instantly has had the insane growth. I think we mentioned it on another podcast here as well, but the inside story. It's like we're gonna go back to that, but quickly let's give a plug for Instantly. Like, what's going on with that company? What do they do, and how does that work?
Yeah. I think
I think if we give an inside scoop, we gotta be like, if we turn on the car, like wins every single time for the next 12 months. But yeah, I mean, they've built an insane tool. It also builds into the market trends, at least for me. But they've built a very good product that tackled all the problems, or they kind of engineered a new way on how to do cold outreach, because previously, if you wanted to really scale volume, with the other tools, you just had to buy seats for a new email account. So to, to send 10 times as many emails, you would spend 10 times as much, but then Instantly came around and just totally revolutionized that to where you can scale volume essentially
And just-
infinity.
And just for example, before Instantly, I remember like I was using Mailshake, and probably our Mailshake bill was like probably 3.5, 4K a month. And then Instantly came on and it was like $100.
It's crazy to me that they scaled their own service, which is the cold email service, using cold email.
Yeah.
That's the best case study that you can have. Like, hey, we scaled up to, was it now 12 million ARR in 2 years? Less than 2 years.
I think it's less,
Year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With cold
Super
email.
fast growth. I remember a year ago, like almost exactly a year ago, we were here, me, Rob, and then one of the Instantly founders, Raul. And we were looking at Raul's phone. We were sitting at Teleskip and we were looking at Raul's phone, and they hit million ARR. And we were like, that was our celebration. And then a year later, 12 months later, they come here and we're like, okay, 1 million MRR. So they had like 12x in 12 months, which is like,
It's crazy.
mad. I think a big part of their success has been because they literally did it themselves and they used it themselves, so they could like just see, okay, which is like what is annoying to do and what is hard and what do no one else provide, and then they just build it for themselves. And like we were talking about it with Raul, he was just mentioning that we just built Instantly in a way that like stuff that we would use ourselves, and like if we don't use it ourselves or if we wouldn't use it ourselves, we don't build it.
Yeah, why run it?
Yeah, and I think the other thing is it's just simple to use. Like the UX is very good to the point of like you don't need to be a growth hacking marketer to know how to do cold email campaigns. They mentioned that it was something super esoteric, like Wyoming dairy farm manufacturers are using Instantly, right? It's like insane, but that just is a testament of how well they've been able to design and engineer that tool.
I think no one really did it like they did as well. Like I spoke with some company like late last year, and then I was just like, have you heard of like Instantly? And it's like, it's like a friend of this. And he's like, I think, we got like one email that was just like a one-liner, and we just replied because it was just like so different.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see their cold outreach emails.
I've seen them. They're good.
Okay. Yeah. Something to copy then.
Yeah.
But sorry, I completely derailed you earlier. Let's jump back to market trends.
Yeah, market trends. So obviously, like it's undeniable that cold email is getting more popular, and we can just see that from the campaign stats. They're going down a little bit, and a lot of prospects are just right out saying we get a lot of those cold emails lately. And I've seen like people on LinkedIn just talk about, what's up with all those emails coming in over the last 6 months and so on. So that trend is definitely there. And I think there's two main driving forces for that. First of all, or let's say three, but I think one of them fits into the other. So the first thing is sort of like more micro and more what we see every single day, is that like to do lead generation, the barrier of entry is very low. You need $200, $250 a month to run campaigns. And if you got sales skills, if you know what you're offering and so on, whether that's a lead generation agency or I don't know, anything else that you do like podcasting, with that low OPEX, you can actually close like a lot of deal sizes or deal values. So I think the barrier of entry to the opportunity is very good on cold email, and people are just catching on. And also, if people wanted to start marketing agencies of doing paid ads, you need to learn how to find clients, how to do sales, actually how to do paid ads. Then you have to use your clients' money on your tests and you're not sure on what to do. And like, there's a lot more friction as opposed to lead generation. And most companies, I think it is 63% of companies in the US say that they have a lead generation problem. It was per HubSpot, so I didn't just take it from the metaverse.
Ninth dimension.
Yeah, ninth dimension. So I think
HubSpot is just fueling every
had to get that in here.
But yeah, so I think that's trend number one. It's just there's very low barrier of entry for people to start it. And this is more like SMB and boutique agencies or boutique companies or freelancers even. It's very easy, low OPEX, high potential return. So it's just a no-brainer. And you don't really lose anything if it doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
But I think the other side of it is, as the economy started to cool, especially in the US, those big companies, so Fortune 500 and Fortune 5000, it became harder to sell. Like post-COVID, there was so much liquidity in the market that a lot of B2B companies, or even just regular companies, selling was pretty easy, right? There was so much money on the market and so much currency in circulation. And then once the economy started cooling down, you can see that from, sales communities online and just job listings and so on. Sales got really hard suddenly. And it's actually interesting to where I found an Instagram account, which was something like sales memes or something like that. And I scrolled back to 2021 and all the memes were like, yeah, sales, like when you close another deal, and it was like a Jordan Belfort meme. And then if you scroll to now, then it's like all the memes are like, yeah, if you want to get depression, just go into sales and stuff, right? So like it's like it got so much harder to sell if you're at a big company too, right?
That's a great way to analyze market sentiment. Just find specific
you
meme accounts. Yeah.
You can go on Reddit too, Reddit r/sales, and if you take the top 20 posts, they're all gonna be like, I'm put on PIP, not hitting OTE, quotas are so difficult. Like everyone's complaining, right? So I think just thanks to the macro trends in the market, the micro sales has gotten so difficult that, to hit quotas and to hit OTs and to just actually like not get fired, a lot of the SDRs and sales reps who do lead generation, so SDRs, business developers, what else? Account managers.
Sorry, let's quickly define the term SDR.
Sales development representative.
Okay.
So essentially a person who finds leads and passes them off to a salesperson or like pre-closes them inside of big companies, right? So I think for them, they had to start like get out of their comfort zone a little bit and come up with better solutions. So before, I mean, cold email was always a thing, but it wasn't like the thing, right? It would be cold calling or just like personalized emails or I don't know, like unscalable things. But as it got harder and harder to hit quotas for SDRs and sales reps and people in sales and big companies in-house, it's a free market. They started to adapt too. How can they get better techniques, better strategies, and so on, to where a lot of the software on the market, like instantly is super small, like 12 million ARR in the sales market, it's nothing, right? And all those big software like started to add on cold email capabilities, better automated emails and all that stuff, to where, yes, you have those freelancers, boutique agencies, and all the small little fish in the ocean who are like sending a lot of emails, but also the bigger fish in the ocean are also starting to catch on to the power of cold email. And I think those two things literally just have turbocharged the cold email, like adoption of cold email, which is, it can be a threat to where, it's so hard to reach my prospects because they get 20 cold emails a day. Or it's like, okay, if they get 20 cold emails a day, what are we going to do differently to stand out from the sea of clones, And I think it's a matter of mindset, of how you approach it. But these are the market trends that I'm seeing in terms of like cold email and B2B sort of growth hacking or growth marketing.
And where do you position yourself in that sense? Because I would assume there are quite a few consulting services like yours offering specific consulting for agencies and individuals on how to build up their agency. So how and where do you position yourself in the market in terms of, let's put it, let me think how I actually wanted to word this, because I kind of lost myself there in a second.
I think I got what you meant.
Okay.
Leevi, did you get it?
Yeah. So I think, first of all, I think one of our main advantages in terms of positioning is that we are really focused on just one aspect and one way to scale the agency, which is lead generation and using cold email, doing outbound, getting really good at that. So if you look at the market and look at consultancies like ours focusing on that segment, there really is no one. There's some clones of us that like
if you're successful in something, clones are gonna pop up,
of course.
But like mostly people sell like courses, right? Like no one offers like ongoing hands-on communities.
Yeah, that's also a big thing. A lot of people, when they go into education or consulting in their sense, or coaching or info, whatever it might be, they see it as more of a higher leverage opportunity to make more money. They don't really look at the opportunity as, okay, we are able to build a sick product and actually have a huge impact. Because at the end of the day, the person who makes the most and has the biggest impact is the person who puts out injects the most amount of value to the market. And a lot of people think that they are putting value into the market because they have a lot of people in their course, but then the actual course is fairly mid. They're not really focused on product development. They're not actually coming up with ways on how to get better results. So I think that's a big thing, which of course, sometimes we also have to battle against a bit because people are really skeptic. I have bought 10 courses, I've been in coaching, and then they have just gotten something really mid. So they don't really comprehend what it actually looks like when it's done right and actually done product focused, and the actual focus is customer results and not bottom line for the actual course or info or what it might be. And then I also think a big thing for us is we acknowledge the fact that, okay, cold email is amazing right now, but in 5 years, who knows? So we're really focusing on fundamental things in B2B growth marketing, the actual principles, how do you actually take a service that someone is selling and position it in a way to the market that someone actually wants to buy it? How do you figure out how you need to communicate it? How do you identify the highest leverage markets that you need to sell into? How do you create really good sales arguments and all of these things? Because cold email is great, but at the end of the day, if your foundations are solid, if you actually sell something that someone actually wants to buy and you know how to actually communicate the value, then it doesn't matter. Once again, you can do it in any channel. Cold email just right now is the highest leverage one, per se. But for us, we just talked about it, I think yesterday, if cold email disappeared tomorrow, I don't really see of course there would be a period of adaptation and we would have to come up with a new protocol and teach it to all of our customers, etc. But I don't really see our customers getting worse results because they really understand the foundational, how to actually sell B2B offers and why people buy them, and what things actually you need to take into consideration when you're doing it. So then even if we change the platform, even if we go to Facebook DMs or whatever, LinkedIn or cold calling or whatever it might be, the people still have the information and knowledge on how to actually sell it. So then the only thing that really changes is how do you deliver the message. And a lot of people are optimizing the actual cold email scripts and what subject line and what call to action to use. But that's pretty much optimizing what font do you use on your ad, when it actually doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the content of it. If someone tells you that, someone sends you a letter, you buy a lottery ticket, and then the lottery office, you win it, and they send you the envelope of you won. You don't really care, is it a pink or blue envelope or what the font is. You're gonna read it, you're gonna be extremely hyped about it, you're gonna be okay, this is great, and that's the only thing that matters. So that's also the same thing, if you have a really painful problem, or if you have this really end goal that you really desire, you want to double your revenue, you want to get more customers, you want to see more premium, whatever it might be, you have this end goal for your business, or you have this really painful problem that you're struggling with every single day. If someone offers you a solution to it and it's clearly communicated so you understand it 5 seconds, it's really well presented, and there's some credibility that it's actually true, you don't really care if the subject line says hey or hello, or if their call to action is do you want more information or do you want to hop on a call. You either want it or you don't. So that's really what we focus on with our customers, how to actually come up with those messages that pretty much equal to you winning the lottery. How can we get that, how can we focus on all the other things except the actual content of it? Because then it's always then it doesn't matter what happens to cold email. We can always get good results, and our customers can always get good results.
Very well put. But where would you transition if cold email disappeared tomorrow?
I think probably LinkedIn, outbound, paid advertising on LinkedIn and Facebook.
LinkedIn is picking up again, right? Or am I mistaken?
I know, I get the same amount of spam all the time. It doesn't matter.
It's a little bit different because you can't do high volume, or building the infrastructure to do high volume outreach on LinkedIn is way more difficult.
Sorry, that's what I misconstrued something, because I heard right now that LinkedIn has a good opportunity if they get their shit together to become a good channel again, because they really limited how you can outreach to people, but they have such a good network. So if they actually leverage their database, they could really build something.
Yeah.
but for some
Yeah.
reason they're not doing it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that. Like at the end of the day, like no matter what anyone says, like they are on LinkedIn because they want to make more money, they want to get more sales, they want to get
Yeah.
more customers, and like someone might be there delivering value and showing the actual insights of running a business, blah blah blah. But like that's all capped. They actually just want to get deals. So like if you are limiting that, I think it also like hinders a lot like the value of the actual platform.
Yeah, probably paid.
Yeah,
Probably cold calling. I think if cold email disappeared, then it would be pretty simple. It would be, instead of cold email, you would have cold calling, just to get a feel for the market. Exactly like with cold email, you can understand the market, and eventually, like, to get a really understanding or the market research, the best way is to do sales calls, right? That's literally the best way there is. So if you just cold call, you will get that faster, as opposed to, I don't know, sending handwritten letters. And then you just take what you've learned from cold calling and start testing on paid. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
I'm jumping back to the course comments right now, but you with your agency, you're giving out so much free content, and the content you're giving out for free, other people would probably charge for.
Yeah.
Because the huge documents and everything, you scroll through them. I haven't read all of them. I think Gaur did, but that was a lot. So that really attests to that you're all about value. It shows.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like it's really hard to humble comment, but it's really hard to compete with us because we give like things that people would have normally in their consulting or coaching program or in their course. We have it for free. So it's like, how are you really gonna compete with that? Like, maybe you identify better with some kind of market, or maybe you just like make crazier claims. But once again, like that's not sustainable if you can't actually deliver. And if you're not really focused on the product, there's no way you can deliver on that. So it's like a lot of people are thinking really short-sighted in like this industry. They're like, okay, how can I make an extra million next year and buy a Lambo? But it's like, that's really not where the game is played, because right now as information moves so much faster in the internet, words travel so much faster. If your product is shit, if you are just a complete grifter, everyone is going to know about it in like 5 seconds. Then like negative word of mouth starts working against you. Plus, like over your lifetime, the only thing that you really have with you is your reputation and your name. Even if you change your name, people are still going to figure out who you are. So you can't really afford to fuck up your reputation by selling a bad product. So just so you can get the Rolex and the Lambo. It's like, it's not a good trade-off. It's not sustainable.
Guys selling those prompt guides for ChatGPT.
Yeah,
it's like get a million prompts here.
Yeah,
exactly.
So that's like, I think that's the big problem. A lot of people are thinking really short-sighted, and I think in the next like 5 years we'll really see like who had the great products and who didn't. I think a lot of those people are going to disappear because they just can't sell. Even if they do paid ads, there's so much negative word of mouth against them. There are so many threads, so many YouTube videos about how they're a scam. It doesn't matter if they put 1 million in ads, they can't do it profitably because there's just so much friction against them online that a lot of people are probably going to just disappear and go into something else because they have ruined their reputation. And
for you as well, if you get people hooked on your content, then they're already seeing success from this free content, then they want to work with you so much more.
Exactly.
We've had like onboarded clients who got their agencies to, I don't know, 200K ARR, just based on the free stuff that we've put out, which is, those are the absolute best clients for us.
And it's like super high leverage for us, because then we already know that, okay, they know our stuff and our protocol and everything, how we think. And then it's just like, we can just give like few really specific things. Okay, we need to change this, and like go more on demand. So it's also like way less work for us to get like really good results for them. So those are for sure, like that's also why we put a lot of free content out, so people can just...
It's a really good funnel for you guys as well. Like, hey, you want to join our agency? Okay, go through this free stuff, start a company, make 200 grand ARR, and then you can join.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think we were just looking at it the other day, but we disqualify around 80% of people who hop on a call with us. And every single time when that disqualification happens or it's just not a fit, we hand off everything that we have, like all the free content that we've ever put out in a sheet or in a doc, and hand them off to them. to make sure it's not like, oh, you didn't have money, okay, fuck off, like
Yeah.
we'll never talk to you, or like
Mhm.
fuck off, we didn't get money from you, so next in. That's kind of not what we're trying to build.
I kind of want to know what are the most. Let's do this one and let's start wrapping up. I think because we've been
Sure.
here for an hour already, an hour and 10 minutes plus the 20 minutes that wasn't recording in the beginning. It was. It's fine. Just teasing our producer here. So, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you see newcomers make with cold email? It's like we've talked about all the stuff that you can do right, but what's the things people get wrong? Like, what's a no-go? It can be with list building, it can be specifically with emails or trying to close the client. Let's take any stage of that.
I think a big thing is just because there's a lot of different variables in cold email, and especially like we already talked, or like Robert already said, like cold email is getting more popular. So what that also does is there's more information about it. There's like, okay, how to specifically set up the best text structure and like how to put the DMARCs and how to do this and that. And there's a lot of really complex things. So a lot of people, when they start out, they assume that they need to have everything set up perfectly in order for it to work. Because so they just end up, there's the huge friction to actually start, and they spend 2 months being confused trying to like set up domains and warm them up. And then like they just get demotivated during those 2 months and they actually never start. And then I would say a second thing, at least from my head, like the biggest one is people really like, it's logical. I understand why it happens. And I have also made that mistake in the past, but they send out a cold email or a cold email campaign and it doesn't work. So their automatic reaction is, okay, the script was shit. The cold email copy that I actually wrote wasn't good. So then they focus on just actually working the copy and trying to like tweak the numbers and tweak the first line and tweak the call to action and et cetera, tweak the follow-up scripts and make it a longer or shorter or whatever it might be. And they think like, yeah, of course, that's obvious. Like that obviously seems like the thing that actually is restricting the performance of the campaigns, because that's really the only thing that the prospect sees. But in like probably 95% of the cases, like as long as the cold email isn't like super terrible, the bottleneck never is actually inside like the actual cold email campaign or actually instantly. It's something outside of it. Like, okay, what are you actually selling? How is it positioned in the market? Do you actually know what KPIs your prospects measure? What do they actually care about? Do they use specific language or specific terms to describe this problem? Are you targeting the right decision maker? Etc. How it, like, what comes up if they Google your agency's name? What kind of a funnel do you have? How is your product or mechanism explained in the funnel? And there's so many other variables that people miss out because they only look at the cold email script, and then they might spend 6 months just throwing random cold email scripts into the metaverse and crossing their fingers and hoping that it actually hits. When actually the problem is that they have no idea of what the people actually even care about, who they are selling to. So they are just like trying to throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. And yeah, if you do that for a long enough time, it might work, but it's not predictable. So I think that's like probably one of the biggest like mistakes I see people make, is like just focusing on like trying to become the best cold email copywriter, and actually like the copywriting, like putting the words into the cold email sending tools is like one of the lowest leverage things in the campaigns.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just not understanding the market, and it's actually not that difficult if you understand what's going on. I'll bring an example, right? If I told your producer, hey, I can get you 2 100 gigabyte hard drives in 10 minutes, and he's like, okay, like fine. I'm like, okay, I'll get it to you in 5 minutes. So I tweak the copy. It's like, you're still gonna say like, why does it matter? Because I heard you said there's 280 gigabytes left. So I'm going to say 1 terabyte ones. That might already start make you think a little bit. Like maybe I'll entertain the idea, right? But if you don't know, like if I didn't know about podcasting and I was just offering you 100 gigabyte terabytes, it like, or 100 gigabyte hard drives, it doesn't matter if it's fast or if it's 10 or 100, like,
or if it's AI leveraged,
or yeah, or if it's like AI hard drives, like it doesn't really matter because like it doesn't make sense for you. So if you don't know about the market, like it's very difficult to make campaigns work. And that's what Leevi mentioned too, is like, yeah, you can tweak the copy, you can make this. But if you don't really understand how it works, like we've had it with a couple clients too, where you know, they're hitting SaaS companies or startups, right? And they talk about, let's say, qualified leads, right? Qualified leads. When in reality, those, or like deal sizes or closed deals or whatever that is, when in reality, in that niche, almost everyone uses ACVs, which is, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Average client values.
Average client values, not deal sizes, right? Like if I ran a startup and I was talking with my sales team for 3 hours about ACVs, and then I open my email and someone's like, I can get you extra 5 meeting or fucking closed deals, then it's like, what does that mean? I'm not selling insurance, right? I'm in software. So I think it's just like not understanding the market. And if you understand your market, and if you're like know what's going on there, if you've taken sales calls or you watched, I don't know, sales call recordings, or hell, just browse like some communities, it gets way easier. But I think most people just miss that part. They just Apollo, write some generic copy that they got from like a giveaway online,
Twitter post.
Yeah, Twitter post giveaway. They put that in, completely missing the nuance. It doesn't work. They're like, oh, what, this doesn't work. You know, I need like better copywriting, and then that's how it goes.
I think it actually might mean average contract value.
I think
so like
is.
if you're a SaaS guy, like fucking
Yeah.
don't come after me.
Yeah.
But like that's the thing. I think like just to add on that, like for example, a lot of people, like if you're a lead gen guy, you like really understand cold email, you really understand marketing, you go through the courses or whatever, there's always like more like specific marketing terms like qualified leads, for example. But then the market that you might be selling to might not even understand that they're struggling with lead gen. Like there might be a bakery and there's the baker is like just thinking like, how can I get more cake orders? They are not thinking about how can I get more qualified leads. They're like, how can I sell more cakes? So then if you approach that person and tell them that, yo, I'll get you 15 qualified leads in the door, high value, high average contract value, they're not gonna
intent.
they're sales intent, they're not gonna care. But then we're like, yo, I can get 5 people who buy a cake from you in the next 2 weeks. It's like, that's what I want. So it's like there's also like some markets are less aware of their problems and the solutions actually to those problems, and they don't even like really know how you're describing them. So that's like, if you are off on that, it doesn't matter. You can have the best bakery scaling ad strategy offer ever.
AI
but if
leveraged,
AI leveraged gigabyte like terabytes thing, like it won't matter if you are not helping them get more cake orders.
It's the classic thing that if you start throwing industry jargon at a person and using complicated words, it shows that you don't understand what you're actually talking about.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're throwing the wrong industry jargon, if you're talking
even
about
worse.
Marketing industry jargon to a baker, like they won't care.
You just have to meet the person where they are.
Yeah, like it needs to be simple to understand. Like someone opens a cold email, they are gonna take 3 to 5 seconds to read through the email, and if it doesn't immediately connect in their head that okay, this is something that I need or want, or this is actually useful for me, they're not gonna look at it again. So it needs to be like, okay, how can I demonstrate the value of this offer in 3 seconds to them so they actually understand it?
Yeah, for like, and I just think people overcomplicate it so much.
Yeah.
Like one time with a client, I was on a call with them, like breaking down the campaigns and stuff, and I was like, yeah, the copy is good, but like, I don't know about the industry that you're targeting, so I have to rely on you thinking or you knowing that this is what's happening, and they're like, I don't know. I'm like, well, what are we gonna do? It's like I can't like pull it from the 9th dimension and like know what exactly, like I haven't done any market research, right? Like that should be what you do. And then they're like, well, can you show me some of your copy that you've written for outreach? I was like, sure. And I showed it, and then they were like, but there's nothing special here. I was like, yeah, that's the thing. Like there's only like 3 sentence segments, like maybe like 6 words that make all the difference, right? Because I know it was like targeting e-commerce brands. Like I knew that the CPMs on Facebook were increasing, or like that specific target market was really struggling with ad account bans. And how did I know that? I just watched some sales calls where they were like 2 people back to back said that, like, yeah, like last week we got our accounts banned twice or restricted. Simple. Like I know it, but it's not complex at all, right? It's so simple in concept.
That's a great insight to go and watch sales calls on your.
Yeah,
The best
Yeah.
market research.
that's the best market research. They tell you why they hopped on a call with you. You know, they tell you what their problems are.
So I have one last idea. We're gonna play a quick rapid fire game. It's hell yeah or fuck no, and you can think of your own ones to add on to here later.
Wait, so
So I'm gonna read out a thing for you, and you two say hell yeah or fuck no.
okay.
Okay.
So,
interesting.
Adding send from my iPhone at the end of your cold outreach email.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. That's a good one then. Handing your cold email off to another person on your team when you don't get the first reply. It's like, hey, I'm Andre, I'm sending you this email. And the second email comes from Sarah. Hey, Andre handed this off for me to make yourself seem big.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
You're just giving out too much alpha right now.
Using ChatGPT to customize your emails, adding it in between the mix there.
Hell no. I would say hell no. In specific cases, yes, but in a lot of cases, it
Hell
does.
no, just because it's trying to optimize how fast your semi-manual gear shift goes when you drive like a 97 kilowatt car. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like most of the time. So it's like if you drive a Ferrari, hell yeah, because you can get faster. But if you drive a Yaris, it's kind of like hell no, you know.
Yeah.
Does make sense.
So yeah, I'm gonna agree with that.
I had one more here, but I can't read my own handwriting. Do you have any? Oh.
You used up all the good ones.
Open tracking on your emails, cold outreach emails.
In the beginning, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Then when you see that your deliverability is fine, hell no.
Because it's
Yeah.
going to degrade the accounts, right?
It can
just
negatively.
deliverability is worse.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like, yeah, you might have better deliverability, but what stage are you in? Are you like clearly maximizing? Have you like know for sure the more inboxes that I hit, the better it is because everything before that is better? Sure, turn off the open tracking. If you're, you know, you can even do some like interesting, which is you kind of like randomize shuffle it, the lead list to make sure it's pretty random. And then you just put like a mini offer or value prop in the subject line. So let's say if I was selling it lead gen offer, maybe more leads ? In one campaign, and then in the other one it would be like more closed clients ? And then if I track open rates, you know, if more closed clients has, let's say 30% higher open rates, that's like pretty clear indication that this is more resonating on the market. So you're going to have a little bit worse deliverability, but is it going to be worth it? Like I'd say like, as long as your domain tech is good, your lead lists are good, your copy is not obviously spammy, like get this free erection increasing pills, you know, which obviously get pulled into spam. And if you just follow best practices, I personally am a huge fan of keeping open tracking on just because I'm big, like I like data.
Also, I
nerds.
just found out that we need to change our headline now.
Right.
He's just said it's a no-go. The penis pills.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the other campaign.
So, okay, I'm done. I'm
what
done
you
here.
could do is like, so penis, and instead of I, you just do lowercase L.
Yeah.
So it's
Algo
penis.
won't detect it.
Yeah.
We are just
Perfect.
trying to
That's
shield
a
you
hell
away
yeah.
from
This
it.
is those are the little gray hats.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty
Hat
sure my
techniques.
spam is filled with those emails.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's our best running offer, so we're just trying to like shield you away from it. Like, don't do it, bro.
Yeah, don't do it at all.
Penis enlargement? Question mark?
Question mark. Yeah, but if you rip that, yeah, you will have. It doesn't matter if you have open tracking on or off. Like it's not gonna get delivered well anyway.
Because
You know.
for us, it's actually like our account health, like we kept accounts running for like 3 months and didn't use them. And then we just suddenly log back in and I'm like, account healths are like at 70%. Haven't even sent shit.
Yeah.
And then we start actually sending shit, like 50 emails per account per day, and the health goes to 98.
Yeah, that makes
I
sense.
was like, what the fuck?
The more active they are without spam restrictions and
And then now it's like when I keep open tracking on, they went to like 94 or so. And then I turned open tracking off, back to 100.
yeah.
But that's also the thing, like, yeah, those metrics are for sure important and deliverability is really important, but like a lot of people just focus on that too much when they could actually just focus on, okay, how can I learn more about this market? Like if you spend an hour thinking about the deliverability or hour cold calling people in your market and asking like just market research questions, the hours spent on market research is going to be 10 times higher leverage. So
sure.
like if you already have, like Rob said, if you already have everything dialed and you're just trying to like squeeze the extra 3% of the campaigns, then yeah, 100%, then you're going to like really focus on that. But for most people, they're so far from that stage that it just doesn't like, just don't focus
Makes
on
sense.
it.
Yeah, but tweaking the open tracking has more procrastination value.
Yeah, it
It
has.
feels like it's better.
Yeah. But you can just code, you can build new apps where they
Exactly, yeah.
procrastinate.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good. Dude, guys, thanks for coming.
Amazing.
Super.
It was a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Sick
Thanks.
podcast.
Very fun.
Have fun scaling up to 10 million ARR next year then.
Yeah.
We will.
Oh,
we'll
yes.
come back in
We'll
a
see you
year
then. Yeah, we'll
yeah,
do
exactly
a check-in.
1 year from now.
Yeah.
and we'll tell all the best practices.
Awesome.
Eight-figure run rate. Yeah.
Oh, and last thing, agencyvelocity.io,
Yes.
your X handle.
X handle at Leevi Eerola. I still can't remember what is X.
We're gonna add it
Yeah, I
to
was
the show
also
notes.
thinking like you're asking about the ex-girlfriend or what. Like,
Twitter/X handle Leevi Eerola. We're gonna
Yes.
put in the show notes. Yours.
More difficult. So it's arrow man, but instead of an A, there's a V.
Just
So
gonna write it
arrow
into the
movement.
show notes then. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that
any other links or resources you wanna plug or asks?
works.
Parting words. Just like stare straight down the barrel.
Yeah. If you want to learn about these things for free, you don't want to actually pay us money, understandable, you can go to leadgenkit.io and there's a lot of free resources that we also share about cold email and best practices there. And then of course, for actually building a lead gen agency to 10K a month in the next 92 days with our help, you can go to agentvelocity.io. We have a free training there. Check that out. If it's something that you actually seem to enjoy, go ahead and book a call and maybe we'll see you inside.
Awesome.